Welcome. You're tuned to the Urban Affairs program. It's time to get up for Urban Perspectives with your host, Pete Rhodes.
Welcome. You're watching Urban Perspectives. I'm your host, Pete Rhodes. This edition is sponsored in part by UCare and the Twin Cities Mobile Jazz Project. This episode spotlights diversity at work. Diversity and inclusion is increasingly important to our vibrancy in our communities and the corporate world. Today, we'll discuss its importance with a Fortune 500 company, an industry-leading construction firm, and within the University of St. Thomas. Thank you for joining us for this special look at diversity and inclusion here on Urban Perspectives. My first guest is committed to and focused on creating and administering Cargill's diversity strategies and initiatives, stimulating the growth of minority and women-owned businesses at this 150-year-old Fortune 500 company. Since 2010, he has led the development and the execution of Cargill's supply and diversity with customers, prospectives, suppliers, and third parties to execute the tactics that align with Cargill's 153,000 employees in 67 countries for their diversity and inclusive objectives. He has, shall I say, been named by Supplier magazine as the top 100 most influential Black in corporate America. Here's a look at Cargill's Director of Supplier Diversity, John Taylor.
Cargill has been a strong supporter for diverse businesses essentially for the last 42 years. We've been engaged with the MMSDC since the Supplier Diversity Program at Cargill was initiated back in the early 2000s. We believe that by utilizing diverse talent, by utilizing diverse suppliers in the areas that not only that we live and work, but it also brings us innovation. It brings us cost savings, and those are some of the key stakeholders for Cargill strategic sourcing.
John, thank you so much for being here on this edition of Urban Perspectives. We often see each other at NCMSDC events, and it's really a pleasure having you here.
Indeed, Pete, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you very much.
Well, let's start off by asking you, how has Cargill made an impact in diversity procurement, and what is their ultimate goal?
Well, I tell you, Pete, when we look at diversity within Cargill, it's not only supplier diversity, but it's also workforce diversity. We have a huge commitment in both spaces. Mm-hmm. Willard McLeod actually is our CDO, our Chief Diversity Officer, and has a responsibility for workforce. But on the supplier side, our goals are driven by our CEO, Dave McLenithan, yes, on essentially where we want to be within terms of the diversity roundtable, the BDR, the $1 billion roundtable.
Yeah. Now you have also headed up diversity procurement departments for other 500 corporations. What led you to this creative career?
Actually, it was a very circuitous path. My background is actually agribusiness from the Ohio State University, okay, and with that, I began my career as a commodity trader, buying and selling the raw materials, and then that moved me into a space called packaged oils. And within packaged oils, we had a customer who decided that, supplier diversity is very important to us, and we're not going to move further until your organization then tells us what you're doing in the area of supply diversity.
Interesting, yeah, so kind of led you into heading up some of the important aspects for what is needed out there in terms of diversity and inclusion.
Indeed, and it really began as somewhat of a customer focus, but then we realized that there's tremendous opportunity to really expand diversity within our supply chains.
Well, speaking of diversity, John, you're a member of the Minorities in Agriculture, Natural Resources, and Related Services, or have been involved with them. How has diverse careers changed in this industry?
Actually, a great question. I would say, looking at the past 20 to 30 years within Manners, the organization that you're talking about, Minorities in Agriculture, Natural Resources, Related Sciences, there are a number of opportunities, not only from ag education to really the commodity tradings to food and food and ag sciences, as well as ag communication. So a wide variety of opportunities in the ag space.
Oh, that's fantastic, because my grandfather, a farmer, owned land in the South, and taught me a few things, but you know, it's a major business for the world, actually.
Indeed,
Yeah.
indeed.
Now, how has Cargill, I know I see you, as I said earlier, with NCMSDC.
Yes,
We
yes.
changed that lately.
Yeah.
But how does Cargill work with those diversity supplier organizations like that around the country?
Well, and actually, I sit on the board of our local chapter. Again, the NC, or the North Central Minority Supplier Development Council. These organizations are tremendous advocates for supplier diversity. We also have Chris Roberts, who is the president of Cargill Kitchen Solutions. He sits on the board of MEDA, the Metropolitan Economic Development Association. These organizations help us find these great diverse suppliers.
Yeah.
So tremendous advocates for supplier diversity.
Yeah, we've been doing a fantastic job on our board there. And as director of Cargill's Supplier Diversity, still a young man, but what do you expect your legacy? What would you want your legacy to be?
Well, thank you for the young part. I do appreciate that. I'd say in terms of a legacy, there's a tremendous shift in our population here in the U.S. And probably within the next several years, as the population continues to grow, not only does Cargill have to look for individuals from a diverse standpoint on the workforce side, but we also need to be able to look for these diverse businesses that are going to be part of our supply chain. Yeah. So from a legacy standpoint, I'd love to see where the DNA from a recruiter or from a sourcing specialist has the opportunity to include that diverse lens, having a diverse lens not only for the workforce but also for the supply base.
So very important. And as well, your job there, what you're doing over the last 5 years that I've known you, it seems like you're focused and you're getting things done. We really appreciate you being here on the program to talk a little bit about what Cargill is doing and what you're doing in that area.
Well, I appreciate that.
John Taylor.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here.
All right, thank you.
Weekly here on Urban Perspectives, we present Shining Stars, highlighting people, places, and events that contribute to the vibrancy of the urban community. Our Shining Star this week earned his bachelor's degree in finance and accounting at the age of 19. He's a law student at William Mitchell School of Law and believes with focus, hard work, and determination, anyone can achieve what they set out to accomplish. Meet our Shining Star, Mayor Abdul Salam.
My name is Mayor Abdul Salam. I'm a student at William Mitchell College of Law. My family is originally from Eritrea, a small East African nation, but I was born in Saudi Arabia. I went to Spring Lake Park High School. I was able to do some college classes during high school. I was actually able to finish all my generals during that time and went to Augsburg. I did finance and accounting at Augsburg. Completed it in 2 years and graduated when I was 19. 3 months later, I got my CPA and then went on to William Mitchell, where I'm at now. My ultimate goal after law school is to work in some type of business law, corporate law environment, specifically securities, tax, or mergers and acquisitions. I was raised primarily by a single father, so I think my support system was always there, whether that be family, friends, or mentors, and I think that was number one for me. When it comes to goals and missions, I kind of see the people around me work pretty hard, and they motivate me to do the same. Recently got appointed on the board of directors of Youth Prize. They focus on students, particularly between middle and elementary school age students, and specifically the time they spent after school. Growing up, recently I can remember being 13, 14, that time after school was really crucial in how I spent it. I had, parental supervision to kind of tell me, read this, do this, and so forth, finish your homework before dinner. And the nonprofit wants to kind of step in and fill gaps in the community where some kids might not have that. You have to work hard. That's a given. But outside of that, reach out to other people in the community, volunteer, look for internship opportunities. Don't always look for the shiny, most sought after opportunities. Look for the opportunities that require hard work, that allow you to kind of expose yourself to the community and kind of show your value of what you can bring to the table. My name is Mayor Abdul Salam, and you're watching Urban Perspectives.
Thank you, Mayor. When we return, we'll meet the president and CEO of Lundquist Associates, one of the largest Asian American-owned contractors in the nation. Meet Hoyt Shaw on Urban Perspectives next.
Well, I've sent a lot of people here, not just because they have quality products, whether you want watches, diamonds, or whatever, but I sent them here really because of the people. And the people make you feel wanted, they make you feel at home. And because of that, I have a lot of confidence. You know, I just don't give my name and give a recommendation to something unless I really believe in it. And I really believe in what Jimmy and Alaina do here in this store.
What if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change. A whole new kind of investment called Better Futures. When you invest, it helps kids go to college. Believe in us, invest in us, watch us grow.
My name is Sydney, and I'm your dividend.
You're still at it. You still have all the right moves. Still embracing the moment. Still have that sense of adventure. Welcome to UCare. We've been expecting you.
Learn more about our Medicare plans at ucareplans.org. UCare, healthcare that starts with you.
Welcome back to Urban Perspectives. Our next spotlight on diversity at work includes a young man, Hoyt Shaw. In 1974, his father co-founded Lundquist Associates. Over the past 20 years, it has grown to become one of the largest Asian American contractors in the country. The company's culture and commitment to diversity and inclusion is long-standing. So is their reputation as a builder of integrity. We welcome to Urban Perspective the president and CEO of Lundquist, Hoyt Shaw. How you doing, Hoyt?
Good, thank you.
We saw you at the recently at the annual membership awards program, and you seemed so delighted to receive that award. And well done as well for the work that you do here in this community.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it was definitely an honor to be named the Supplier of the Year for the NCMSDC awards.
Yeah, well, that's great. So, as a second-generation owner, how did you start in the corporation, and when did you become president?
Well, it's a little interesting story. So my father was the one who founded the company, and I think, you know, part of their legacy that they wanted to leave was have the business become a family business.
Yeah.
So he would like us to go to business with him, and he encouraged it. He didn't require it, but I went with him during growing up in elementary school, high school, and college. And once I finished college, I started working for our company, Lundquist, and worked through different positions. And in 2009, I was named the president and CEO of the company.
Yeah, it's kind of like with my mom. I used to follow her around everywhere. She was an entrepreneur, and so am I. Can you name two of the larger? Because when I started looking at your company, I was awed at some of the major things you've done. So the two of the larger local and national projects that we would be familiar with.
Sure. One of the things about our company is we were able to perform quite a variety of projects, including larger projects. So locally, I think the most significant project that we've done is the Minnesota Department of Agriculture and Health's laboratory building over by the state capitol facility. So that was about 10 years ago.
Okay.
And the unique thing about that is, you know, that's the facility where the state performs a lot of the tests and with health issues, and I don't know if you remember, there's like
the Ebola crisis.
Right,
yeah,
and
exactly.
being able to take care of those type of things.
Yeah.
So that's a significant project that we felt we were able to accomplish.
Yeah.
Another project that we've worked on is in Las Vegas for MGM Resorts. It's the MGM Park Plaza, so it's actually undergoing construction right now. We're about halfway through, and that's going to be a marquee entrance to the new stadium that the MGM Resorts are building.
Wow.
And it's create a very friendly pedestrian kind of European feel environment.
Yeah, and even the U.S. Bank building up there on Hennepin, I believe it is.
Yes.
That's our little local bank building. It's so nice and cute. You did a fantastic job.
Well, thank you.
How would you describe Lundquist's commitment to diversity and inclusion, Hoyt?
Yeah, so diversity and inclusion is an important part of our company and the culture that we have. One, as a diverse firm, we look for opportunities to help our clients meet some of their diversity goals that they would set for themselves. And because of that, we also feel it requires us to help with diversity as well, kind of a pay it forward type of concept.
Exactly.
So with my father, he's always been actively involved with the National Association of Minority Contractors, a local chapter that he helped found, part of a national trade association, and also here locally being supportive of other minority, women-owned, and diverse businesses.
Fantastic work. I had no idea your father helped start that program as well. A great organization here. Now, in 2014, you guys were named yet again the Entrepreneur of the Year. What does that award mean for you and the staff there at Shaw Lundquist?
Yeah, no, that was a really special award. So it was given by META, the Metropolitan Economic Development Association, and they help support minority entrepreneurs of color succeed. And it was a nice recognition because it was the first time they awarded it to a second generation executive entrepreneur.
Yeah.
So I received that honor. And it's a indication of success of a company, but also the fact that we give back to the community. That's one of the criteria, is our involvement with the community and helping go beyond just our business environment.
Yeah. You work with your brother. How's that?
Yeah, no, it's a family business. So I work with my younger brother, and it's a good relationship. I mean, I think one of the key things is always having trust, and there's always that explicit trust with him, and just being able to work with him, and both of us growing together in our positions and helping grow the company. It's definitely exciting.
I'm sure your dad and mom are certainly proud. Speaking of being proud of what you're doing, you have some advice I think that you could give individuals out there to succeed. What would you give business owners to tell them the importance of diversity and inclusion in the success of their company?
Yeah, I think from anybody's perspective, diversity and inclusion is important because if you look at the population of the United States, it is changing, and being able to have that extra diversity within your workforce and as part of your suppliers, it helps bring in other ways of thinking and a different perspective, which any business, I feel, can use that from our internal purpose of helping people. Again, it's critical to be able to help others grow and develop and get opportunity. And to me, it's all about opportunity. You get the opportunity, but you still have to perform and do well. So you have to be responsible with it too.
Yeah, well, fantastic job. Such a personable individual. I like you, and everybody else seems to like you as well. So keep doing what you're doing, and thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
All right, Hoyt. When we return, we'll discuss the importance of diversity and inclusion within faculty and staff at the leading university with an award-winning author and professor next here on Urban Perspectives.
Hart, what's going on? I'm leaving. Why? What did I do? Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit. Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just please, don't leave. Okay. But remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
moving beyond tolerance to allophilia. Allophilia is having a positive attitude for a group that's not one's own.
Support Minnesota's African heritage community.
Stand with the Council on Black Minnesotans.
Visit our website or contact the Council on Black Minnesotans.
Twin Cities. Tune into the new social network, Comcast Channel 937 BMA, for the best in local and national artists in R&B, hip-hop, gospel, jazz, 24 hours a day. The new social network is BMA, Channel 937 on Comcast, featuring faces, places, spaces, local news, national views, and music all day. Tune into the new social network, Comcast BMA Channel 937, and watch what we play. Thank you for joining us on Urban Perspectives as we look at the importance of diversity and inclusion. Our next guest is a sought-after speaker. She is a passionate educator who teaches public policy, law, and leadership courses. She has a BA from Hamline University, a master's in public policy, and a doctorate in leadership. Please welcome to Urban Perspectives, Dr. Artika Tyner. Doctor, how are you doing today?
I'm well, thank you.
I'm glad you and I are Facebook friends.
I am as well.
You know, I see so many great things that you do for young people in this community. So thank you so much for your commitment and what you do for us. We really appreciate it.
It's a privilege and an honor.
Well, as we move forward, I guess I want to find out in your position as the interim director there at the Diversity and Inclusion Department at the University of St. Thomas, what is the mission of the department?
The mission is to continue to breathe life into the mission of St. Thomas. In a simple sense, it's looking at how we train and prepare our students to make an impact in the world. And if we look at the mission of St. Thomas, training our students to be morally responsible leaders, that truly means preparing them to exchange ideas and grapple with some of the most pressing social justice issues of our time.
Yeah, we have a lot of them that are continuously that we have to look at and that we have to make impact on. And you're doing that because you launched this year a Leadership for Social Justice project. What is the goal of this program? What's it all about?
It's really about reaching everyday people, because oftentimes when we think about leadership, we get the sense that I'll wait for someone else, or maybe someone else will come in my community or in my school and they'll make an impact. But the reality is leadership is about you and I, and really looking in our hands saying, what can we do to make a difference in the world and making a strategic impact. So starting on the ground with challenging 10,000 people with a simple challenge. How will you lead change in your everyday life?
Yeah. It sounds hard, but it's really easy. And just get out and do it, huh?
I agree.
Yeah. Now, you are a recognized author as well, and have this new book, The Leader's Journey, A Guide to Discovering the Leader Within. What's the premise of the book?
The premise is pretty basic, a sense of many of my readers ask, well, now that you've given us this challenge, how can I become a leader? And looking at practical guides on how you can develop your leadership skills, what qualities you need to develop, and more importantly, that sense of a leadership legacy. What do you hope to impact during your lifetime?
So, being a part of the university and other educational facilities and institutions, you're an expert in that area of diversity in educational systems. How important is it to establish policies that affect diversity at these schools?
It's essential. It first starts with setting our mission and vision, then also thinking about as a community, what are our goals, what do we hope to achieve, and last but not least, measuring our success. So really that assessment piece, because without a clear goals being set and policies, how can we ensure that we're reaching our mission of diversity and inclusion? So the accountability piece as well.
All of us have a story. I sit here and I look at you and I wonder, what is this lady's story in terms of guiding you to where you are? Tell us a little bit about how you got here.
Well, my story starts in St. Paul in the historic Rondo community, really seeing everyday people making an impact, whether it was related to mass incarceration, starting small businesses for jobs in the community, or just the everyday people that said, if we have a housing issue, let's build up affordable housing. So really having it in, I would say, my leadership DNA to start where you are and make an impact. And don't wait, start today.
That's great, Doctor. How will you measure your success when it's all said and done in creating more diverse and inclusive environment in the work that you do?
In my students. as I see the reflections of them, it's a reality that as I train them and empower them to become leaders, that they're making an impact on the ground, whether it's around the world. I have one student who's in a leadership program in Ghana. I have another who's working on educational disparities here in Minnesota. So really through my students, empowering them to be agents of change and leaders of not just today, but tomorrow and the future.
Speaking of students, you work with the Page scholars, and the Honorable Alan Page is removed from the bench or retired from the bench, and they'll be working more in that area. How is it working with those students over there and getting a chance to see the Hall of Famer?
It's actually a very humbling experience, and it reminds me of my roots as a first-generation student. The first scholarship that I received was from Justice Page, and that was really the seed of greatness, that I could do something to impact my community. So to give back and be a part of the movement that he's building, it's not just about scholarships, it's about building a movement that's touching people all across the globe through service and leadership.
What's next for you?
What's next for me? Really looking at, within my role as the Director of Diversity and Inclusion for the University of St. Thomas, reframing the narrative. Instead of just talking about diversity in numbers and students and faculty and staff, really talking about the impact of diversity as an asset. Not just saying that we'll be in class and we'll learn something new, but let's transform the classroom. Let's grapple with child poverty. How do we end it? How do we end the spread of HIV and AIDS? So really making an impact and igniting the next generation of leaders.
Yeah, well, you know, my producer in the back and niece, Bianca Lovely, said we have to have Dr. Tyner on the show. We had a great opportunity to reach out to you at the right time when you're here, and I'm so glad you were able to make it.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Dr.
Pleasure.
Artika Tyner. Thank you for watching Urban Perspectives. I would like to thank our sponsors, UCare and the Twin Cities Mobile Jazz Project, my guests, our shining star, and you, of course, the audience, for getting up with Urban Perspectives. Visit our website at urbanperspectives.tv for information on our guests and for links to previous broadcasts. And help us grow and post your comments on our Facebook page. Remember, there are so many amazing people and positive stories in our cities. Watch for them right here on Urban Perspectives. Now enjoy the photos of the week featuring the annual Church Olympics. I'm Pete Rhodes, and I'll see you next week.